another episode of Adventures in Backpacking. I'm Pug Dog.
And I'm North Star.
And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the clothes that we wore on the long trail this past year.
Absolutely. So Pug Dog, what did you wear?
So this year, I wore this Columbia top. I used to love the Marmot Evelyn shirts, and they were discontinued, and I was very sad. But I found these Columbia shirts as a replacement. I really like wearing button-down shirts because I find if you have long hair in the trail, you don't want to be brushing it a lot. You don't want to tear your hair up by messing with it, so I try to keep it just in a braid. So a button-up really works for me. I really like how loose and airy it is. But it's a really lightweight, comfortable shirt, and I wore this for quite a few miles this summer, and for a white shirt, I think it still looks pretty good.
It really does.
Columbia Silver Ridge Light is what it's called.
It's a pretty popular style shirt from Columbia for backpackers in general, so that's a great pick. And how does it do with humidity when it's really humid, say, end of July, beginning of August?
Well, it's moisture wicking, so it definitely helps to keep me cool, and it's very airy, so it's loose. It never sticks to my body. It's very loose, and even the pits, it's very loose. So even in the humidity of New England, I find it very, very comfortable, even when I keep the sleeves down. How about you? What did you wear as a top?
So my top piece, I try to look for something that's polyester, and it should have some stretch to it. So I think stretch is really important. It just helps have the fabric move with your body as you're climbing up and down rocky ledges and just, the rigors of the trail. So I won't really do any brand shout outs, but this polyester shirt, what I especially like about it is it's perforated. So it has little holes, and I don't know if it really helps like your body heat to permeate through it, but these shirts definitely kept me cool while I was on the trail, and they definitely wicked away moisture, and I was very happy with them. So I had a short sleeve version that I wore on the trip after bug season was over, when we returned from England to finish out the last 70 miles of the long trail. And I wore a long sleeve version. I think I had a red version at the time, but this is the exact same shirt. What's great about the long sleeve version, because of all the elastic spandex that it has inside of it, you can just pull this up over your elbow and it stays up and it doesn't stretch out. So I would say for anyone hiking the trail in June, for bug protection, you definitely would need, and especially like the first couple weeks of July, you would definitely, for bottoms, I also wore another pair of, so this is all running attire. That's what it's meant for. So I wore a very short, I think it's a 4.5 inch inseam. I'm 5'11", so this is quite short on my body. So what I liked about these shorts, the shortness, the side cut that comes, it's pretty pronounced. It's like it's an inverted V. It goes upwards, and that helps with just minimizing any sort of chafing you might get or resistance from the fabric. These are also perforated, so I think they help breathe a little bit better, and they have a built-in liner. So I didn't wear underwear. And what I especially liked about these, as my weight fluctuated on the trail, the drawstring was on the outside, so I could easily tighten these as I went.
Did you miss not having pockets in your shorts?
I don't think so. In England, when we did our hike, I liked having pockets, but that was a very different experience.
Yeah.
On the long trail, I think having pockets is actually not a good thing. You're always raising your thighs to a right angle, and I just think things could fall out. Actually, if you look at one of our old long trail videos from our failed 2017 Sobo hike of the LT, if you look at one of those videos, there's a time when I kept my cell phone in my pocket.
Oh yeah.
And I got stuck in, like I stepped into a deep bog of mud up north, right around Haystack Mountain, and my brand new iPhone 7 Plus that I just got the week before was like inches away from falling out of my pocket right into the mud. Yeah. So, what did you wear for bottoms?
So, I love Patagonia baggies. I've tried wearing running shorts before just because they're a little more lightweight, they dry a little faster, but I went back to the baggies for the second half of our long trail hike just because I like the thickness of the material. I still think they dry pretty quickly. I like the thickness of the material because on the long trail you spend a lot of time scooting down rocks on your butt.
Yeah.
Because if there's a big slick rock slab, it's a lot safer to sit down on your bum and scoot than to try to walk and slip and possibly hurt yourself. So because I spend a lot of time on my butt, I really like these shorts. As you can see, they still look like pretty new, and I've worn them on a couple trips. They do have a drawstring. I like the stretch, and I like the fun color. And they do have pockets, nice like deep pockets. I don't use the pockets for anything other than maybe like a tissue on the trail, but I do like having the pockets in town for carrying like cash and credit cards when we go out to eat or go do laundry or whatever. I used the Patagonia Barely bra. Obviously this is not much of a bra. I would not go for a run with this bra. But when you're on the long trail or when you're on most hiking trails, you're not, unless you are running the trail, you're not running. So what's most important to me is one, that it dries fast because I'm sweating a lot. Sometimes you're caught in rain. So I want a bra that's going to dry quickly, and also one that's going to be comfortable for 12 hours a day or more. So something that's going to be comfortable on my body for long periods of time. So this Patagonia Barely bra really fit the bill this summer. I really like it, and I think I'm going to stick with this for future hikes.
So what'd you bring for a hat? And when did you wear a hat?
So you have to have a hat if you're hiking during bug season, because you need something to make your keep your bug net away from your face. So the bill of this hat keeps the bugs away, and I didn't find that I needed anything around the rest of my head. So just having a bill was just fine. This smells like my backpack, this bug net.
Yeah. Does it really?
It really does. Yeah, It smells like the long trail. And this is the REI. You have the same one. Do you remember the name?
I think it's called the On the Trail cap. I know that they still sell them as well.
It is super light. Like, it's super light and flexible.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the lightest running or just active hats I've ever seen.
Yeah, and we've washed these I don't know how many times.
Mm-hmm. I think it's 1.25 ounces. Yep. So I always hiked with a bandana as well. Couple reasons. Well, one, sometimes I just wore it around my neck, just as a sweat rag. I sweat a lot. I have a shaved head, so having this hat on could also absorb the sweat, but it gets a little too hot. But if the bugs are really bad, you can actually wear this so that it covers your ears, and with the bug net over your head, you have full protection from bugs biting through your ears. You don't have
the hair back here to protect your neck.
Yeah. So what else did you wear on the trail? Maybe we can get to, because we're talking about our outer layer, maybe we can talk about socks, shoes.
Okay. I know that we both love these, this style sock. These are called Injinjis. They look kind of silly.
Yeah.
They're toe socks. I need these because my little toe, I'm sure this is a common problem, maybe not, I don't know, folds in underneath my other toes, and so I get these very unique blisters, And so these keep my toes from rubbing together and forming blisters.
So do you have a preferred thickness? Those look like on the medium side of thickness.
Yeah, in the summer, actually most of the time, I like the thinnest ones that like you have.
Yeah, so I guess the biggest difference between the ones Pug Dog has and these are sold as a liner. So they're just called a liner. And these are specifically, we have two different types. They're pretty much the same thing. Injinji trail and Injinji running. They're a little bit thicker.
Right.
If you need that kind of padding, I suppose that's maybe something to do. It also depends on what type of shoe you're wearing, of course. But for the type of shoe that we're wearing, and for how wet the trail is, and I mean, there's just no way around it. Your shoes are going to get wet. Your socks are going to get wet. So it's more a matter of, for us, having a breathable shoe system where the shoe itself is breathable, has a better chance of drying out. For our system, a very thin sock like this works. I've used Smart Wool socks in the past that are very thin as well. They're not as durable. These are not 100% wool. These are some sort of hybrid. It's part polyester, part nylon, part spandex, and part wool. These are extremely durable. If you're going to get Injinjis, try to go for the ones that have just like the ankle cut. Or, I mean, I guess you can get the crew cut as well. That's a little too high for my taste. Do not get the no-show or the really low, like just below the ankle bone versions. We bought those, and what ends up happening is they just kind of end up getting sucked into the shoe. So that was like a lesson learned. It wasn't a huge problem, but it was enough to slow us down from time to time.
I also got a blister because it
wasn't covering.
It was so low that the tongue of my shoe was rubbing all day
That's a good
against my
point.
ankle, and I ended up getting a blister. So didn't work.
For warmth, so warmth is definitely something you need, some sort of outer layer. So I will say this, in normal backpacking, 3-season, winter, you're oftentimes looking at some sort of base layer, some sort of mid layer, and some sort of outer layer. For hiking the long trail in summer, I would say that a base layer and just some sort of mid layer should do you fine. And then obviously like rain protection, but you shouldn't need more than that. You shouldn't need two mid layers or outer layers at all. So we opted for just a synthetic puffy jacket. So this is made out of an Apex material. The outside is a nylon material. So what's great about these are extremely light. So that's always nice because you don't wear these often. So they're extremely warm. I think they weigh 7.5 ounces for a medium. I think Pug Dogs is probably like 6.5 ounces for the small. I'm gonna get really warm here in a second.
Well, this is the only negative. How cool do I look?
I know. They're not attractive jackets.
No, they're so ugly, but they are so lightweight and so warm.
They're not very breathable.
No.
So that's a good thing and a bad thing. If you're only going to bring one puffy layer, it probably should not be breathable.
Yeah, they're great for stops. They're great for camp. They're great for like before you leave in the morning. But for hiking, they're not great.
No.
What'd you wear on your feet?
Dirty Gold Gators. They definitely help to keep some dirt, debris, mud out of your shoes. They have a front clip that clips to the laces, and then the back has Velcro. I don't know if you can see that. And you just would affix Velcro to the back of your shoe, and then that would secure on the back. So I definitely wouldn't hike without them. Otherwise, you'd probably be stopping all the time to take, crud out of your shoes. And what'd you wear for shoes?
Innovate Terra Ultra G260s. These are, well, they have giant holes in them, as you can see. These trail runners are great. I have what's called a Morton's Neuroma, and so I have to have a wide toe box or else it acts up. Not that wide. So these are perfect because the whole shoe wasn't wide, it was just the toe box. And they have excellent grip. So it's not a Vibram sole, but I found that you have to have a good grip for the long trail. They dry quickly, which is super duper important, because on the long trail, your feet will get wet, they will get muddy, you'll have to wash out your shoes. You want them to be able to dry quickly. Yep. It's also good if it has a removable sole, so that you can put your insole, so that you can put your own insole in.
Mm-hmm. And most tennis shoes or trail runners do have removable insoles, so that you can swap them out.
Oh, and it's important that you buy it, for me, like a size bigger than my normal, because my feet get swollen, and if I use trail runners that are not at least one size bigger than my regular shoe, I end up getting like chafing and blisters. And
I would honestly say that's good advice for anyone. So the big reason is if you buy a shoe that's slightly bigger than your foot, when you're going downhill, your foot's going to slide forward no matter how tight you have the shoe. Shoes have stretch to them, mm-hmm. and your shoes are going to stretch out over time, and eventually there's going to come a breaking point where they will literally break, right? Yeah. So buying your shoes at least a full size longer will help mitigate some of that pain that you're going to feel from the downhills, mm-hmm. and offset that. Did we talk about insoles?
No.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead? I don't have a pair to show off. Maybe you can talk about the insoles that we both use.
So I think we both use the Superfeet. I think they're carbons. Mm-hmm. I see a huge difference between the floppy insole that comes in the shoe and using...
Which is right here.
Yeah, look at that. That's nothing.
So this is a brand new shoe. This is the sole that it comes with. It's just the floppy piece of material. There's nothing to it in terms of this sole, but...
Right, but this has the curvature of the plastic part on the bottom of this particular insole really feels nice on my feet, and the carbon are thin enough that it's not compressing my foot within the shoe. Some of the other variations of the Superfeet are a little too thick, and they end up squishing my foot in my shoe, and that actually activates my Morton's Neuroma too. But I'm assuming that it probably would be uncomfortable and unpleasant for anybody. Also, you can take these out on the trail and clean them in town, which helps with the smell.
Yeah, so when you buy them, if you tend to use, like, say, this brand, which is Superfeet, is you end up sizing them to your original sole, and you would cut away on the Superfeet version or any other version that you buy, you would cut away so that they match up, mm-hmm. and then you slip it inside of the shoe. We both use a pair of wind pants. These wind pants are great because they're made of nylon. They're a woven material. There's no stretch to them, and most bugs can't bite through these. So a pair of these pants only weigh 3 ounces. Some brands, they only weigh like 2 ounces. So our versions, they weigh 3 ounces. They're easy to put on the go because they have a lot of little clips towards the cuff of the shoe, or excuse me, the cuff of the pant, so you can get them over your shoe without having to take your shoe off, which is a good feature to have. It does have a little zip pocket that you also would help fold it into itself. But these are great. They're not just great for protecting you from the bugs. For me, they're great if it gets a little bit cold out. Not during summer on the long trail, but in shoulder seasons. Mm-hmm. If it's 40, 50 degrees outside, I can get by hiking in these. Mm-hmm. And they don't do a great job breathing. So yeah, it helps stay warm. And I wear these at night on the long trail. So otherwise, I feel like if I bring separate leggings, which are always lightweight, I'm just kind of taking up extra space in my backpack for something that is a very specific function, where this kind of fulfills two functions at once. So yeah, I like these. And you use the same ones, right?
I do use the same ones, but I don't use them to sleep in because I feel like I'm kind of weird in the fact that I don't like the feeling against my skin at night when I'm sleeping.
Of nylon?
Yeah. And so I use the Patagonia Capilene lightweight leggings to sleep in, which are a lot more comfortable. But you're right, they do. It is a little bit of extra weight and a little bit of volume being taken up in your pack.
Well, it's really crazy too. Like these will get you by in a pinch if it's raining. So
that's true, yeah.
they're water resistant. They will shed water, and they'll eventually, like, if it's raining enough, they'll eventually soak with water. But they're so thin and light to begin with that the water, they're not taking on that much water. They're not absorbing that much water. It is nylon and it's woven, so it's pretty tightly, like each fiber is tightly together. But these dry so fast in any temperatures, even if it's overcast outside. If you can get these to a shelter or inside your tent and you wring them out and you let them just air dry, they will honestly be dry within 2 hours. In the sunlight, obviously a lot faster.
What else do you sleep in?
So on the long trail, I did bring, for the first leg before we went to England, I brought a long sleeve shirt. It's the Patagonia Capilene lightweight base layer. Just any sort of lightweight, thin polyester shirt will do.
And we have the same shirt. We have a lot of the same. We did the research together, so we have a lot of the same stuff. Also, I liked having this for town, for doing laundry. And I brought sleep socks. You didn't bring sleep socks, right? Or did you?
I brought 2 pairs of socks and that a 20-degree quilt.
Right.
I didn't feel like my feet were ever going to get cold.
Right.
If I brought a 40-degree quilt,
you would. Yeah.
I would.
Well, I brought these darn tough sleep socks, and then I would wear them. We don't bring camp shoes, so North Star would just kept his sneakers on. Did you bring bread bags?
No.
He makes fun of my method.
I don't make fun of it. I just don't. Doesn't appeal to me.
So what I would, instead of bringing camp shoes, what I do is I put on a dry pair of socks, my sleep socks, when I get to camp, and then over the dry pair of socks I put a bread bag because these weigh basically nothing. And then I'd put my trail runners back on, all like loosened up. So my feet are dry. They're not going to get wet again because they're protected. And I have my shoes all loosened, so it feels like they're resting and not constricted like they were before. And I save the weight of bringing the camp shoes. The other thing about camp shoes on the long trail is even when you're in camp, if you're doing your chores, like going to hang your bear bag or going to fetch water, the
terrain is pretty treacherous. So if you're wearing a pair of flip-flops, even if you're at camp, yeah, like going to the privy or going to the water source, often at a lot of these shelters, just because of the terrain, it's not an easy walk. So you might be, going around rocks, roots, and mud. You might accidentally kick a rock and damage, one of your toes.
I think my dad broke his flip-flops, right, when he was hiking with us on the long trail.
Yeah, I would say it's as good of an idea as it seems to bring camp shoes. If you're wearing boots, then I think camp shoes are a necessity. If you're wearing trail runners and they breathe pretty well, I would say you don't need camp shoes. Do whatever you want to do. This is just what we do.
I agree.
But,
and a lot of people that we met loved Crocs.
Yeah, Crocs seem... Oh, yeah, because they protect your feet. So what do we wear for weather protection?
We have these awesome ponchos.
I have to say, we really believe in the poncho method. Yeah. We've worn them for 3 seasons now. Really 4 years. We've worn these for 4 years. 3 seasons on the long trail. I see people with rain jackets on.
Yep.
We saw a couple people with umbrellas, which I have some lightweight umbrellas. I've thought about it, but I just do not like the idea of holding an umbrella like this all the time with your hand like this all the time. I know you can
especially like on the long trail where some of the trail is being impeded upon by like really thick brush. You wouldn't be able to carry the umbrella.
Yeah. So the rain jacket can be a little bit, I don't know, like not breathable when it's so muggy outside. I'm not, like, I feel like we're just showing you guys what we use. I'm not going to recommend anything because you kind of have to go out there yourself and see what works for you. Because we've fallen into that trap before as hikers where we blindly listen to what worked for someone else and we end up very unhappy. So, I mean, do your own research and definitely get out there and practice. But this is something I would recommend. Any kind of poncho you can find. So these happen to be made of Dyneema composite fabric. So these are from a cottage company, Z-Packs. What's great about these? They weigh just as much as the popular outdoor research helium rain jacket. These come in at about 5 ounces, but they protect you from the rain. Not just you,
but your pack.
Your pack.
Yep.
They protect a little bit lower. Like if you're wearing shorts, these actually cover your shorts as well. So I know some people have pack covers, but the pack cover does not keep the water from getting on your straps, your shoulder straps. So you still are going to have to haul into your tent, if you're tenting, a potentially shoulder strap soaked backpack.
That weighs that much more because it's soaking in the water.
Yeah, I would not like that.
I love the brim of this poncho too. It keeps the water, especially if you're wearing glasses, keeps the water out of your glasses, and it's still breathable. I mean, it's still, obviously you're going to be a little bit warmer when you're wearing like this non-breathable fabric on your body, but because there's no sleeves, it's still very breathable, and you can also use it.
So we always use it in the shelters.
Yeah, as like a ground sheet.
As a ground cloth.
One thing that someone asked me was whether I wear my glasses or contacts on the trail, and I always wear my glasses on the trail, even though it means I can't wear sunglasses, because the idea of touching things in the shelter, you use Purell constantly, but the idea of taking my fingers and putting them in my eyeball, having not used soap and water for 4 days, just grosses me out. So, and I also worry about getting an infection in my eyes. It's not like the long trail is like freakishly sunny or anything. So
we're in a green tunnel.
Yeah, so your glasses are fine. I've never said, I really wish that I had my sunglasses. Never happened.
If you do bring glasses, a good thing to bring would be any kind of pre-moistened lens wipe. So what's great about these, obviously they clean your glasses. I budget myself 1 per day, and you can reuse the cloth on your glasses. So I usually save the paper cloth, keep wiping my glasses throughout the day.
Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you again soon.
Absolutely. Bye.